Welcome back to End Times Prophecy News for the 8 o'clock report, April 18th. China and Russia have sent ships after a U.S. vessel. Now, I did report on this yesterday, but for those of you who don't know it, China and Russia have sent ships after a U.S. vessel. China and Russia have dispatched intelligence gathering vessels to go after a U.S. aircraft carrier headed toward the Korean Peninsula. From the Salt Lake Tribune, China and Russia have dispatched intelligence gathering vessels from their navies to chase the USS Carl Vinson nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, which is heading toward waters near the Korean Peninsula, multiple sources of the Japanese government revealed to the Yomiuri Shimbun. It appears that both countries aim to probe the movements of the United States, which is showing a stance of not excluding military action against North Korea. The self-defense forces are strengthening warning and surveillance activities in the waters and airspace around the area, according to the sources. The aircraft carrier strike group, composed of the Carl Vinson at its core with its guided missile destroyers and other vessels, is understood to be around the East China Sea and heading north towards waters near the Korean Peninsula. China and Russia, which prioritize stability in the Korean Peninsula, showed concern over the tough U.S. stance, with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov saying the issue should be resolved peacefully through political and diplomatic efforts, which the U.S. has tried for about 30 years, and it's impossible. The dispatch of the intelligence gathering vessels appears to be partly aimed at sending a warning signal to the United States, but maybe not. Former Trump aide lands new gig. Look what they're doing now. Former Trump aide Boris Epshteyn has landed a job as a political commentator. Washington Examiner reports Boris Epshteyn, a former spokesman in the Trump White House, has joined Sinclair Broadcasting as its chief political analyst, the company announced on Monday. Fresh off his role as the aide who directed the White House's surrogate operation, Epshteyn will participate in programming that could air on all 173 television stations that carry Sinclair, according to the broadcasting company. Epshteyn had previously served as a campaign spokesman before moving on to becoming communications director for President Trump's inauguration committee. Once in the White House, Epshteyn earned a reputation for his aggressive style and combative nature. And breaking news, State Department issues statement on Turkey referendum. State Department issues statement on Turkish referendum vote, noting reports of irregularities on voting day, urging political dialogue. Sunday, millions of Turkish voters made their voices heard during the April 16 referendum. We encourage voters and parties on both sides to focus on working together for Turkey's future and to maintain a meaningful political dialogue. Democracies gain strength through respect for diverse points of view, especially on difficult issues. We thank the OSCE Referendum Observation Mission for its important work and note the concerns detailed in its preliminary assessment of the conduct of the vote and campaign. Those concerns include observed irregularities on voting day, and an uneven playing field during the difficult campaign period, which took place under a state of emergency. We look forward to OSCE ODIRHR's final report, which we understand will take several weeks. We look to the government of Turkey to protect the fundamental rights and freedoms of all citizens, regardless of their vote on April 16th, as guaranteed by the Turkish Constitution and in accordance with Turkey's international commitments, such as under the Helsinki Charter. The United States remains committed to strengthening our bilateral relationship. The United States continues to support Turkey's democratic development, to which commitment to the rule of law and a diverse and free media remains essential, even if they are about 92% Islam. Breaking news, illegal immigrant arrests are soaring and border crossings are plunging. I told you this was going to happen. Win, win, win. It appears President Trump's strategy is working. Illegal immigrant arrests are soaring, and less legal illegals are jumping the border. from what I last heard, is about 22,000 has been arrested already. That's approximately about, well, we're at the end of, we're crossing into the 4th month. So we're finishing our 3rd month or our 1st quarter. So that's approximately about 7,000 per month. But I suspect will be over 10,000 next month because it's increasing. From Zero Hedge, even as so-called sanctuary cities around the country ramp up their efforts to thwart the Trump administration on enforcing immigration laws, despite the risk of losing their federal subsidies, arrests of illegals, immigrants spiked 33% year on year in the first 52 days of Trump's presidency. Of course, for the Washington compost pile, such a spike in the enforcement of federal laws is highly disturbing and perhaps even a direct attack on the rights of sexual assault victims, which of course is a bunch of pack of lies. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement arrested 21,362 immigrants, mostly convicted criminals, from January through mid-March, compared to 16,104 during the same period last year, according to statistics requested by the Washington Post. But the difference about that is a lot different as well. Because for one, they get deported every time. Number two, they're making it a felony instead of a misdemeanor, slap on the hand. And many, many other laws are changing about it. Arrest of immigrants with no criminal records more than doubled to 5,441, the clearest sign yet that President Trump has ditched his predecessor's protective stance toward most of the 11 million undocumented immigrants in the United States. Oh, I roughly figured it out, and that means that Donald Trump has put a dent of 0.2% in the 11 million so far. At that rate, it would take another 4 quarters just to get to 1%. Well, approximately. But I believe it's going to increase at an extremely fast rate. It's just going to start. Advocates for immigrants say the unbridled enforcement has led to a sharp drop in reports from Latinos of sexual assaults and other crimes in Houston and Los Angeles, and terrified immigrant communities across the United States. A prosecutor said the presence of immigration agents in state and local courthouses, which advocates say has increased under the Trump administration, makes it harder to prosecute crime. My sense is that ICE is emboldened in a way that I have never seen, Dan Satterberg, the top prosecutor in Washington State's King County, which includes Seattle, said Thursday. The federal government, in really just a couple months, has undone decades of work that we have done to build this trust. What a goon that is, huh? No, you know what they really are? They're starting to get scared, starting to crap their pants because we're going to win all over them over there in Syria. That said, we doubt very seriously that WAPO made the same arguments in 2014 when, under the Obama administration, immigration arrests were 37% higher than Trump's first 50 days. Wonder why that would be. Glenn Beck sues Tomi Lahren now. Wait a minute, I thought Tomi Lahren was suing Glenn Beck. Oh, it's a counter lawsuit. The Hill is reporting Glenn Beck countersues Tomi Lahren, says she was fired for inappropriate and unprofessional behavior. Glenn Beck and the Blaze have fired back against one-time Blaze personality Tomi Lahren, countersuing the firebrand media personality Monday in response to her own lawsuit against the outlet. Beck's 35-page counterclaim filed in a Dallas court alleges that the Blaze benched Lahren last month after repeated bad behavior rather than just for making pro-abortion rights remarks, lawnews.com reports. Lahren regularly clashed with other of the Blaze personalities, the lawsuit allegedly, even at one point boasting that she would own the company. Wow. That picture doesn't fit a woman who is boasting that she would own the company. It just doesn't seem to fit for me. What do you think? And we'll go one more story. President Trump just shut down his haters with one tweet. Trump approval hits 50% by Rasmussen reports. Oh, and I seen some comments about that. Just because I report things, I know some people said, Jim, do you really believe that garbage of the mainstream media? Well, for one thing, Rasmussen reports is not really, it's a conservative poll site. Okay. Number two, just because I report things doesn't mean I believe everything. I've shown that to you almost in every single report I've ever made. So I really find it ironic that someone would say, Jim, do you really believe what you're saying? You mean what I'm reporting and reading to you? No, I don't believe it a lot. I've told you over and over again that I believe this number is a lot higher. I didn't think I needed to say it about 30 times. I thought 20 was enough. Was that sarcastic? Yeah, maybe it was. But it is what it is. I think I did say it about 20 times in the past 3 months. Anyway, hope to see you at 9 a.m. God bless you and have a great day.
If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin